Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
I went back to my parents' house recently because I was looking for my digital camera from high school, which had photographs on it to show the pain and anguish that I had to endure as a high school student. I was looking for the photos that depict the vandalism of my car. I've told this story before. People vandalized my car and wrote, "You're not Dominican" on my car. So this has been happening for 20 years, Dallas. Just people trying to say... Well,
you've not been Dominican for all of the years. Just want to get that out there. Just wanted to get that out there. Want to clarify something.
I feel like if you take up for the DR and you have to deal with this, like I'm more the Dominican than some Dominicans are.
I don't know. There's probably some 23andMe tests that would argue that, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I fight the good fight, you know? So, and then I went back and I found from high school my Dominican wristbands. So the thing that's good about this is I used to roll these up to my forearm, but they don't fit. Yeah. So
they used to cover your shoulders.
Yeah. I used to be able to
those used to be full arm sleeves.
Yeah. I used to be able to take like a Live Strong bracelet and roll it up to my armpit if I wanted to. Can't do that in the old 2025 as we quickly approach 2026 here. But yeah, these are game worn Saugus Domingo Dominican wristbands from high school, and I'll be rocking them all throughout the World Baseball Classic. In addition to that, I told Dallas before the show I had an announcement to make. I have hired a Dominican stylist for the World Baseball Classic. I have employed help from the island to help give me an authentic wardrobe for the World Baseball Classic, so that I won't just feel the part, I will look it as well.
I'm going to say this much. You can dress the part, but you want to know what you can do with clothes? And for all those who need a visual, you can take those off, which means you remove that identity at the end of the day. There's really only one way for me, at least during this WBC run, for you to literally plant a flag. And I'm not asking you to tattoo yourself yet. That'll come.
Dude, I'll do it. I'll do it to start the tournament.
If you'll do it to start the tournament, then put your money where your mouth is. Yeah. I need to see a flag on that ass. Not literally on your ass, but I need to see a flag on that ass at like before first pitch. That's got to happen if you're willing to do that. What I was going to say was, again, short of marring your body, the haircut is how you really, exactly. Raise the eyebrow, pal. The haircut is how you really make the statement, because you go to bed with that, you wake up with that. Mm-hmm. There's no running from that. There's no covering that up. I mean, sure, you could put a hat on it, so I guess you literally could cover it up, but you wouldn't do that. You're not a big hat guy. No. So that's where I believe it's got to start for you. I mean, you can get the chains, you can get the jewelry, you can get the shirts, you can get the jackets.
I'm gonna wear every chain that I own.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say not only that, but then we are. I don't expect to see your actual eyeballs for the next 2 months. 3 months, because you're going to be wearing sunglasses inside. Correct. And they are going to be extremely dark sunglasses, probably with some gold on them.
Gold, yep.
And yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Buddy, the minute you said I'm going to get a stylist, I took snapshots. I think we all did. I was like, yep. Yeah. Like, because straight up, like, Sevy, buddy, I don't know that I have seen a more dialed in dude on a big league showbird than Luis Severino. I mean, it is, bro, I couldn't spend 2 lifetimes acquiring the matching dialed in unis that he rolls through with. It is fucking exceptional. So you've got some work to do. I'm not saying you can't do it. I think the hair is a place to start. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I mean, I feel like they kind of do like not a mohawk, but like kind of like same length, like tapered down the back. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and there's absolutely got to be some like I need
eyebrow. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to hit the eyebrow. But like that eyebrow's got to that eyebrow's got to lead into the side of the head too. So like when that mow starts to taper, you got to have that clear line of delineation between like top lettuce and the side lechuga. Like you've got to, yeah.
Do I just call Poppy and be like, hey, do you want to do like a video where you just Dominicanize me?
Yeah, that's exactly what you should do. Like, yeah. Poppy, make me you 101. Like, let's, how do we do this?
The producer side of me says this needs to be documented content. So let's not miss that opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah, I think that's something that absolutely needs to happen. Well, good. Yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. So what do I do? How do I answer the bell? Do I just wear fucking overalls and a straw hat? Like, what's America?
You got to go full like Hulk Hogan. Like American flag, not wearing Hulk Hogan attire. I'm just saying how he embraced America for his character.
I trust me. When I sent out
you both cringed at the same time. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. When the WBC roster started to take shape, like I just typed in. I got so excited. I was like, America in the gift box, and it was just Hulk Hogan, and I was like. Oh, I think I got to reel that one in. I don't know that I can go full Hulkster here. But I do. Well, I have someone
like Terry Bollea was racist. Hulk Hogan was an American icon.
Correct. I just don't know if baseball fans are willing to
separate the two.
To separate those two.
I agree. It's probably not the best move, but I'm thinking like if I did like a thigh tattoo that was some sort of like nod to the Dominican Republic, I would be down for that. Pre-tournament.
Pre-tourney thigh tat?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I'll slap the fucking stars and stripes right on that teardrop.
I think obviously you are, but like if you weren't such a huge pussy, you could do like the Declaration of Independence on your thigh. Just like put like a scroll, like bam, like right there on the quad.
You know where else I could put it?
Where?
It's a G-rated show, Jared. Sorry. Oh. I mean, I've got some scribbling on my thigh, so like on my rib cage.
Yeah, that's a very difficult place to get a tattoo. I think you should explore doing some sort of scroll looking thing right there on the quad. Now that I got more real estate, I feel like I could I can get something on the thigh.
Can we talk just briefly about the issue? I didn't bring that issue up on the podcast, so never mind. The what I've ran into at the gym recently.
What?
Remember the rant that I went on when I think I was driving home from the gym, or did I say that on the pod? Did I discuss that on the podcast?
I'm blanking on what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
The attire, the gym attire that I'm seeing.
Oh, it's very it's not what we grew up with.
No, it is not. And maybe you know what? Let me take 2 minutes. Maybe you guys can fill me in, because I'm sure what you're going to end up doing, kind of like you do at Thanksgiving, right? You go, you get good workouts in, and you feel great because you're going to absolutely crush and be a fatso, deservedly so, during the holiday season. So I have noticed this now. Birkenstocks are like I've taken pictures damn near every day and sent them to Jared of multiple people in the same photo wearing Birkenstocks, individuals wearing Birkenstocks. I took a picture of a dude wearing board shorts and flip-flops in the gym. Like when did Birkenstocks though become a thing? And I'm telling you, it's not that they're kicking them off and doing lower body exercises. They're rocking Birkenstocks, to do upper body, shoulders, buys, tries. They're banging out the back and shoulders in the Birkies. And I'm wondering when that became a thing, because I completely missed that time. Like I grew up you're not allowed to wear open-toed shoes in the gymnasium, and that was for insurance purposes. I think folks have either just looked the other way or decided to say, look, you signed a waiver, some shit falls on your toe, and you lose a little pinky guy. That's on you, not me. But when did that become a thing? That's it. That's all I got.
I don't know. I stopped being a public gym guy in 2021. That was my last year. I'm done.
Shit, yeah, man. I just didn't have it in me anymore. Public gym, I just do my lifting in here.
Would definitely be a Birkenstock guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If I accidentally wander into a gym, I'm probably wearing sandals. Yeah, that's probably how it works.
He's a flip flop in the squat rack guy.
If I accidentally wander, where the fuck? Oh,
where's the pool? Where's the pool?
Did you hear what I was saying to Jayhay before we came on here?
What?
Did you hear what I said to Jayhay before we came on here?
No.
I was like, beard's looking a little full.
Oh, yeah. Well, because he's knocking down the scruff up here. Where
but
it grows in all Joe Dirt like. He's
stash,
lowered that level.
The stash is coming in hot, and you know what that means. Holiday season, he's going to want to clean up. I think this is probably the last that we're going to see the beard for a while. I think he's coming back
Ellen. He's
like
coming
Justine
back. Ellen
Havens.
DeGeneres.
Yeah.
I think there's a decent chance that when I show up on the next Just the Nuts throwback stream, that it's going to be bandana, mustache,
handlebar.
Ooh.
That's right.
Ooh. Yeah. Are you going Fu Manchu? Or are you like? Is that
I'm gonna go as far down as it looks. Like when I say good, I mean like silly good. But like
sure,
as far down as it looks good. I think I can get it to like right here.
Yeah.
And then bandana, and it's a whole new look for us.
I love it. I love it.
Jared's
you gotta dye it black though.
I haven't dyed my hair in so long. I think I told it I did sun in once in middle school. That was the last time I dyed my hair.
Some lemon juice, just bing.
Yeah. Bring that shit to life. I mean, that's what looks like what Shane Biles does to his facial hair is like white. He looks like Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's different.
Listen, I'm not lecturing anybody about facial hair. We've been over the pros and cons of what I bring, but that look is not for me. The very blonde mustache beard.
You know what it is? It reminds me of like create a player facial hair. Like you have specifically opted for this color of facial hair to be on your player, and it's because it stands out. Like I love it.
The randomly generated guy who comes in season 6 of the franchise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Torpedo Wallace has fucking this super blonde goatee. I'm with it.
Yeah, the Underdog Fantasy app is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, though. That's important to note.
For sure.
Tried and true.
Yeah, you're going to want to sign up with the promo code Jared to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared. Some things have happened since the last time that we got together. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I was in line at Walmart last night. Bam, breaking news. Willson Contreras traded to the Boston Red Sox. How about that?
Well, let me ask you. How about that? Because it has been an offseason chock full of interest, as is pretty much every offseason.
Have the A's signed a player? Like, do you guys have players on your team?
We've signed a few of them. Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes, we sure have. Mm-hmm. Yep. So now that it seems like you guys might be even more interested in competing in this division, that feels like it's, I mean, you're watching action happen to the left and to the right of you, but now here you are. You needed someone to play first base for you. You needed someone that was showing just any kind of power. Give me some pop over there. We need some help there. And I mean, there's been a lot of talk about, Alex Bregman and what that wall means to him. I think if you look at some of the numbers, as Jayhay did, I think we all did instantly when this deal goes through, you look at the numbers for Willson Contreras and you start to get excited. So I want to ask you what your very initial knee-jerk reaction to this was before you are able to dive into what the numbers tell you and why you think this might be even a little sexier than maybe it was at first glance.
Yeah, so I think his name started getting thrown around maybe a couple weeks ago, and I did like instant dive in because obviously, I think when he originally signed with the Cardinals, it was as a catcher. And that quickly unraveled to like, all right, let's move him out of here and put him on first base. And how often does that happen? Not saying catcher to first base, but just like any player getting moved because they're no longer good at their primary position. How often they become elite at the next one? It's usually just like, we'll stick you here to, put you somewhere. So admittedly, I didn't know how good he was over there. I looked at defensive runs saved first, and I was like,
net positive,
average. Yeah, like he's all right. And then you look at outs above average, and it's like, oh, like this dude's elite at first base. Like I guess it like depends on what defensive metric you look at that you value more. I think obviously like if it's your team, you're going to look for any reason to be like, yeah, this guy's really good. So I like outs above average better because it says that he's better. Sure. I in my like reaction video, I was like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to win a Gold Glove over there any day, but, yeah, I think it's something that you're immediately better defensively at first base, which has not been a thing for half a decade. Like the last time you had a first baseman who was good defensively or above average defensively at the position, that was Mitch Moreland in 2019. I was going to say
2 bags.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Then there's like, so it's just, I thought as a community, as a baseball society, we were more caught up by now. I was shocked at the number, so when I started talking about how good he was offensively, shocked at the number of people that was like, he's a 250 hitter and he only hits 20 home runs a year. I'm like, come on. Like Red Sox fans are a smart bunch. Obviously, people that comment on the internet tend to be dumber than the people that just kind of like read, observe, and keep it moving. Like the people that have less to say are usually smarter. But there was a lot of batting average talk about Willson Contreras, and there was a lot of like, it's only 20 home runs. We could have had Pete Alonzo. Well, if you were to ask me, do you want Willson Contreras for 2 at 17 and a quarter or whatever it is, or Pete Alonzo for fucking 30 over the next 5? Like, yeah, like Pete Alonzo, if we're going to talk like wins above replacement, like Willson Contreras is still like a 3-win player. He's a 130 OPS plus. He's right-handed. Yeah, he doesn't hit a ton of home runs, but he hits home runs. He hits a lot of doubles, and he plays above average first base. So you can't, unless you're acquiring a top 10 MVP candidate, you're not allowed to say anything positive about what the Red Sox do, because the fans are just so angry at the lack of spending, and they're not involved in Kyle Tucker, and they still haven't brought back Alex Bregman, and where's the Ketel Marte trade? So like you can acquire a very good player in Willson Contreras, but because he's, I think, going into his age 34 season, and he doesn't hit 40 home runs, and he's not going to finish top 10 for MVP, then it's like fucking cheap ass Red Sox. Breslow blew it again. Like that's just going to be the reaction. So it's not going to stop me from genuinely saying how I feel about it. Like I'm not going to cater to the masses and be like, fucking Red Sox with a bargain bin pickup. It's like, dude's still making about 18 million. Yeah, the Red Sox still aren't spending money. I'm like, they just traded for a player that they're going to have to pay $18 million to. So like he costs money. It's just the way that he was brought onto the team was different than the way that you would like a player to be brought onto the team, but he's still brought onto the team. Is he not? And we owe him money and he's going to be paid money.
It's a player you need. And I'll say this. I understand what you're saying about, I thought we were beyond this. I think you have to remember that fans are still, because I'm cognizant of this when it comes to the broadcast. I do not want to beat baseball fans over the head with numbers and stats and rate stats that might not make sense to them in the moment, and that kind of take away from what they're seeing visually, right? Because there's a fine line. What do I always say? You got to balance the 3 S's: stats, stories, silence. You got to figure out how to weave those things in. And if in the moment you're crushing them with fly ball rate and pull rate, and they might not, well, okay, what does that mean? Well, I think specifically for Red Sox fans, those might be a couple things that you start to pay attention to with a little more frequency. Why? Because you got the fucking monster. All right. That matters. And I think when I started to look at Willson Contreras, that was something that I started to look at. I know Jayhay started to look at as well. And you're seeing a guy who's coming into town with the highest fly ball rate of his career, with an increased pull rate as well. So if you're hitting the ball in the air more than you ever have, and you're hitting it to the left side of the field at a great rate, maybe more so than you ever have here recently, stands to reason that the people evaluating this player look at those as balls that are turning into damage producers, right? They're either going to go over the wall or they're going to go off the wall. And you like when that happens in Boston. I also think when you start to look at some of the other numbers for him, I started to think about an approach. Like, is this him starting to develop maybe just a little different approach? Because we're talking about a guy who highest called strike rate he's seen since 2021. What does that mean? Well, maybe he's looking for a pitch. He's looking for certain pitches in certain zones. He's willing to wait things out a little more, because it was 16% in 2021. It was 15.8% in 2016. It's 15.6% now. So you're seeing, I don't want to say a shift back to, but you're starting to see him develop maybe an approach on how he wants to go about things. Lowest swinging strike rate of his career. So he's being selective in terms of the pitches that he feels like he might be able to do that kind of damage on, right? I'm looking for a pitch I can lift. I'm looking for a pitch I can get around, get the head out on, and I'm going to do that when I'm comfortable. So we're starting again to see this approach develop. The highest zone contact rate for him since 2023. It was 83.6%. Last year, it was 84.9% in 2023. So again, pitches in the zone that I think I can do damage on. I'm being just that much more selective. And it's something that you're starting to see this guy get more comfortable with. The highest overall contact rate of his career, Jared, 73.6%. It was 73.7 in 2018. And I mean, we're talking a few years in between those two times, right? And I think that's one way, outside of batting average, outside of home runs, that you start to evaluate players specifically to your ballpark is what I'm getting at, because that's where this player is going to play half of their games. So if you're a fan of a player, if you're a fan of an acquisition, or you want to become a fan, maybe see how that player starts to fit in your ballpark specifically, instead of just looking at the counting numbers. You know, like we're going to talk about Brandon Lowe. And what the home run rate for me, what I looked at immediately was, all right, what was the damage done in the ballpark he was just in, albeit a minor league ballpark? What does that turn into at PNC? And okay, so he's light 3 homers, but is that negligible? For me, it almost really is. Like, I'm not too concerned with that. But this is something to be excited about, or something that you can be optimistic about with Contreras.
So Dallas hit on a lot of the stat side. My big picture takeaway, this felt a lot like the batter equivalent of the Sonny Gray trade. And I know that's like kind of an easy cop out in a way, because it's the Red Sox and the Cardinals making another trade. But in terms of like how I felt about it, and the way it fits needs, and how it relates to what Jared was talking about the type of transaction and how the transaction compares to what fans' expectations were entering the season, I think that this is definitionally rock solid. Like, I think this is a very, very good trade for the Red Sox, because Willson Contreras has a broad base of skills that, as Jared illuminated on, have translated to first base. I believe he's had a career high in plate appearances last year, so his availability has ticked up with the move to first base. That is probably a natural conclusion. I saw T brought up, so I'm not gonna parrot it exactly, but they were bottom 10 in weighted runs created plus out of first baseman last year, bottom 15 in the league in OPS. He is a natural upgrade on that, and I think he's an upgrade on even what they could have expected from a healthy Tristan Casas. So that's just at this point in his career with the relatively unknown. And he's a player who has demonstrated a high level of consistency. He's got the batted ball profile that Dallas was talking about that should fit with the monster. He was tied for 8th in Major League Baseball in average bat speed last season. So there's some real juice to this. I saw Peralt, said he was envisioning the high emotion home runs out of the stadium. Like that is something that Willson Contreras can do. Tied with James Wood and Ohtani, and one spot ahead of Ohtani for bat speed. So he's still got it. There isn't a loss there with his age. And I think given what they needed and the acquisition cost, I think it makes an enormous amount of sense for Boston.
Yeah, and he's a net positive defensively, Jared. Like, right. That's the one thing that I think Red Sox fans should take away from this as well, is you've got a guy who's got 20 to 25 pump potential because of what the pull side profile tells you. And you also have a guy who can turn outs or turn balls into outs over there at first base. That matters, man. That truly matters. And when you're thinking about the difference between what you were going to pay or have to pay the high profile free agent in Pedro Alonzo, this is different. This isn't that. But isn't that I feel like it's a really wonderful, happy medium to find.
Sure.
And let's not kid ourselves. Like, I know we liked the Alonzo deal for what it was for the team that signed him, given what they need. Like, it's okay to feel like 5 and 150 for Pete Alonso was outside of a comfort zone for Boston. Like, I know people want them to spend. There is an argument to be made that was a borderline. It could end up an irresponsible investment down the line. And if Boston felt like they had this path that they were able to pursue, if the Alonzo number reached a certain point, like, yeah, I'd like ownership to spend as much money as possible too. But I also feel like there's room for this threading as well in a market where they're not walking away from a Juan Soto. They're not walking away from bidding on a Shohei Ohtani or getting a Vlad Jr. Everybody in this market has real flaws to them, especially at these price points. And I think it's okay to take this as a plan B, much like they did with Sonny Gray in the rotation, perhaps.
And my other thought is, are the Red Sox a Pete Alonso away? And if they're not, then don't you feel like what Willson Contreras could bring to the table? I don't want to say could match whatever it is that Pete Alonso was bringing to the table, but if the polar bear is not the dude putting you over the top based on what the roster looks like right now, because we understand that there's still a guy that you would like to bring back. If that's not going to get you over the hump right now, Willson Contreras is probably not that guy either, but damn, that's a great place to start. Damn, that's a great way to fill that void over there. If it's not going to be the move that puts you over the hump, it almost feels like they're one and the same. And this is coming from a place where it's not that I'm defending Breslow here, but to everything that Jayhay just said, you would hate to find yourself in year 3 of that deal going, man, this is what we're going to get this year, and we got to pay for the next 2 years. Like, oh God, like you would just, I can only imagine how Red Sox fans would feel if they were eating the polar bear bullet at that time.
I think the other thing for me is once Alonzo went to Baltimore, in terms of suitable first baseman options that were outside the organization, like realistic ones, what else would you want the Red Sox to do here? And for me, I don't really care about money. I understand like the Red Sox have the financial restrictions that they've placed on themselves. So like if there is a world where you can have a very good first baseman plus Alex Bregman, and I don't know, you still want to entertain a Ketel Marte trade? Because I mean, I don't think like if 100% is completion, I still think that they're like in like the 10%, like the 0 to 10% spectrum. It's still intriguing to me, but yeah, like I think, you know, there is definitely a scenario where you can absolutely be a better baseball team in 2026 than you were in 2025, and you didn't need Schwarber and Alonzo to do that. Would have been nice. It would have been like an automatic, just like, you know, rocket strapped to your ass if you had one of those two guys, at least from an offensive perspective. But you bring in a Willson Contreras, and now it's like, all right, Bregman, a lot of his errors last year, throwing errors. Now you get a guy that can help you out. Trevor Story, a lot of his fucking errors last year, throwing errors. Great. Let's say Bregman doesn't come back and you got Bo Bichette at second base. He's going to be learning a new position. You're going to want a first baseman over there you can trust, not someone that's going to be like, don't know what's going on. So I don't want to fucking deal with the people that routinely anytime, because I like the Oviedo trade. Like start digging deep on that guy, and you're like, yeah, like this all looks good to me, but you can't say that because Red Sox fans are like, you're bought and paid for because John Henry and your job at Nesson accounts for fucking 1.7% of your annual income. Like,
yeah, well,
it's
then,
crazy.
Well, then let me not being happy about the move because of what we ended up giving up in terms of a Pirates fan. I like that guy, like him, would love to have him, like what the future looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you talk about plugging an Oviedo in with what that rotation is shaping up like, especially the youth in that rotation in Pittsburgh. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, happy about the trade. Still think that the pursuit for Bregman rolls on, and yeah, keep an eye out for, I guess, the Ketel Marte stuff. I don't know. People keep asking me about him. Like, I didn't hear shit about that. Just like I didn't hear shit about Willson Contreras. You know, like I feel like the trade stuff with Boston, they don't let that out. There's a very small circle of people that have those conversations within the Red Sox organization. I didn't hear a thing about Sonny Gray. And I said this when we did the bonus episode of Section 10. Like, there were people like pretty high up within the Red Sox that didn't know about Sonny Gray until we found out on Twitter.
It's all about people that have it is. It's all about people that have eyes on the big board. Like that's how you can process that, is who knows about that? The people who are looking at the big board, the people who have access, the people whose key card works to the room where the big board's at. That's who knows about that.
Yeah. So people were asking me like an update on Ketel. I'm like, I haven't heard a single thing about it. Like, I don't know anything about it, but like, that's how this offseason has gone. Is it's just like, hey, by the way, Willson Contreras is on the Boston Red Sox. Sonny Gray is on the Boston Red Sox. Like, Johan Oviedo, come on down.
Well, when you're starting to move resources like that, that's why, because I can't let you know what I'm willing to give up or what I'm hunting, because that could very well tip somebody else off on what I'm trying to do. And yes, we live in a world where there will be moves made to block moves. Like, it just, that's the way this business goes, man. And I love that aspect of this business. I love that part of the business side of baseball, is because for me, that almost feels like, you know, if you've ever felt like a front office isn't trying to win for whatever reason, I think understanding that approach, you can only be trying to win when it comes to those types of approaches.
Some more shocking news that happened since the last time that we recorded the podcast. Munetaka Murakami has signed a 2-year piece with the Chicago White Sox.
As we all envisioned.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, out of all the teams that he was linked to, out of all the hype over the last years, it's 2 years, $34 million to sign with the Chicago White Sox. I mean, what the fuck? As far as contextualizing this, Jayhay, I'll defer to you.
Sure.
Do you think that he was fielding larger offers? Like, no, not in terms of money. Do you think he was fielding 4 or 5 year deals, maybe for like shitty AAV, and he just wanted to do a 2-year prove it, then I'll sign the 5 years?
I do. I think there was reporting in as much that he got much lower average annual values over the longer term. And this is kind of what we talked about when we broke Murakami down, right? Is that one of the things we said is will he, the final question you asked is, will he come over? Will a contract actually get done? And my thinking on it, and I believe your guys was as well, was that he's at an age where it is beneficial to him to get this started if he wants to have bigger dreams down the line. And he clearly believes in himself, right? He could have taken more guaranteed money over the longer term, but 2 and 34, I think, speaks to that he really wanted to get over here. Like, this was a commitment he wanted to make. He wants to get this process started. And B, what we all kind of suspected as it went along was that the market was far, far softer than not only this podcast thought, but that basically everybody who is paid to commentate on baseball or predict contracts thought. It's Fangraphs had him at 6 and 7 years. Like, it goes down the line. This was just not an accurate assessment of the market. And he's still able to credibly claim that he's getting $17 million a year. And what I like about this deal from Murakami and the White Sox side is that it is as close as I see it from the team side to a zero risk proposition. Like, there is no downside for the White Sox in this deal. And they may have been the last team, because, you know, you're thinking, why would he want to sign with the White Sox for 2 and 34? May have been his best opportunity, but he's going to get a very long leash to perform. And if he goes completely bust, if he's like some of the worst comps that you're seeing on those very, very scary comp lists in terms of in-zone swing and miss and all that kind of stuff, if he's Domingo Santana at first base, then to me, the White Sox didn't lose out on this. It's just money. He's not taking time from anybody, and the upside is greater than anybody else they could have reasonably signed this offseason, or maybe even the next coming offseason. So I love the deal for Chicago. I love it.
And I think this was, and my perception of it was, this wasn't about a market collapse. This was about a market that just simply didn't exist.
Never was there. Yeah.
Never was there. So it didn't collapse. It never existed. And I think you can safely say that, or safely assume that, because he signed with a team who only the Colorado Rockies lost more baseball games than the Chicago White Sox. So you don't land there because there was just something you loved about them. There was just an appeal to them. The appeal is something I thought was probably similar to what Shohei Ohtani felt about the Angels at the time. And it has nothing to do with my theory that is absolutely correct about him just proving who he was in the same backyard as the best player in baseball at the time. This was a place that was going to allow Murakami to exist, grow, fail, whatever it turns out to be. But he was going to be able to do that. He's going to be able to do that comfortably. You can pencil him in the lineup for the next 2 years. And if things work out, well, then guess what? The Chicago White Sox, sure, they'll know him the best, and they'll have, I don't want to say first crack at, but they will be in the lead in terms of potential suitors for any sort of long-term offer that they might be willing to give him. With that being said, that's going to take the evolution and the growth of the core that he's a part of, I think, to kind of trend with him so that you feel confident in making that offer if you're the Chicago White Sox. Do we feel like the Chicago White Sox 3 years from now are going to be yielding offers to a guy like Murakami or other potential high-profile free agents to be competitive, though?
I mean, probably not. But I also think that you agree with me, right? But
yeah, oh yeah.
But I also think like this is the Chicago White Sox, right? Like we know them as this small market minded team. This is Chicago, right? Like I understand that the Murakami era may come and go, and they may not play a single meaningful game with Murakami in their lineup, and if he works, he goes and signs with somebody else. I get it. In the interim, he is a potential draw for them in a way that no other player on the roster currently is, right? And I get it. He could bust and it could not be a draw, but they're the Chicago White Sox. They can afford to waste, so to speak, $17 million if that's the way that it goes, for a risk of turning into a guy who's 70, 80 grade power they were never going to have access to anytime soon. And like, this isn't the Pudge deal in that it's like getting a veteran in so that you can sign better players. But at some point, like getting better and moving forward in the positive direction is something that a self-serious franchise needs to do. And eventually Chicago needs to start treating themselves that way. I just feel like in baseball, you are one tweak away from everything changing, right? And who's to say that he gets over here and gets the perspective of the Major League Baseball game and some of that in-zone swing and miss, he's able to pull back on enough of that where the power really taps in, and all of a sudden, you're not talking about a guy whose swing and miss is a liability. You're talking about a guy who is one of the great power threats in the entire game. And so, like, what are the odds of that? I don't know, maybe 10%. That's a chance that I think is worth taking for this franchise at this time.
The pushback I have there is, if we are already shying away from this guy's swing and miss in the zone against what I think we will all agree is just lesser arsenals.
Yeah.
I think it's really tough to project him getting that much better.
It is tough
at differentiating pitches that he can offer at that are in the zone / out of the zone, because everybody's approach on the mound is, I need to throw you strikes that turn into balls, not balls that turn into strikes. And so dealing with a higher level of velocity on the breaking balls, then I've said this multiple times, that is going to be the test, because if you can get ready and gear up for 98, I don't care who you are. If you are at the plate looking for 98, you're going to get to 98. That's what makes putting it where you want so important. But if I now have the ability to plant that 98 mile an hour seed and then never throw you a strike after that, based on what I've seen, you are going to have to figure out a way to, like you said, Jayhay, either lay off or, as I was talking about, Willson Contreras, and for what I think is a clear formulation of an approach, he's going to have to get comfortable doing that. Because what do good hitters do? What do good power hitters do? They absolutely cripple mistakes. That's what they do. They just hammer mistakes in the zone. And how many of those is he going to get that he's comfortable identifying out of the hand is going to be the test. And I know you got something to say. One more thing I want to say is should he be that beast? Should he be the dude that I think we all want him to be? Because I want nothing more than this dude to come over here and hit fucking 50 homers. I am frothing at the mouth. Give me every bit of that. But if he does turn into that guy, you want to know how quickly he's going to be tested now, because you are the middle of the order bat. You are the sole, essentially, power threat here, and you are going to not see a single pitch that I just simply cannot let you beat us. And so now you're going to be tested even more so. It's not going to be the Barry Bonds treatment where you get one pitch a series. Can you do something with it? But buddy, that approach and you picking out which pitch you can do damage on, that better ratchet up quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, and I'm not being flippant about how difficult the path is for him to do what I'm talking about, and that's why I said it's below 10% or what. It's probably maybe even below that. Michael Bauman on Fangraphs had a great stat. In the last 5 years, there have been just 10 seasons in which a hitter had posted a Z contact percentage, in-zone contact percentage of 75% or less, and a weighted runs created plus of 115 or more, 115 being like kind of the basic bar
slightly
for what you'd have to
average.
hit as a first baseman to be worth the money. In at least 250 plate appearances, that's 0.6% of total individual hitter seasons over that stretch. So he has a very difficult path to hoe. But at the end of the day, like, so the Angels are another team that's like in this kind of shit bin with the White Sox, right? And their signings this offseason have been, we're going to go get Alek Manoah. We're going to go trade for a probably permanently broken Grayson Rodriguez, if we're being honest with ourselves. And I like those moves for what they are. They're no risk, whatever reward, right? This to me is just a sexier, more expensive version of this kind of deal where it's like the chances of it going completely bust are very, very high. The chances of it turning into something meaningful are very, very low, but the White Sox have nothing in the way of taking that risk. They're not preventing a better player from getting time. They don't even have a prospect that's busting through at that position. They're not going to meaningfully decrease their playoff odds. It's not like, a team in the wild card hunt or in a division hunt brought in Murakami, and now there's if he struggles through his first 200 plate appearances, it's like, well, fuck, what are we going to do with this guy? He's slashing 150, 200, 275. Like, we owe him $34 million. It's like the White Sox will say, play through. We're going to coach you or whatever, but play through. And that's good for him, I would assume. And it's good for the White Sox in terms of what they're willing to absorb.
I'm on the record. I want to be on the record as somebody who is absolutely pulling for Murakami. I would love to see him and who is it? Montgomery.
Colson Montgomery. Yeah.
Vargas. Like Baldwin, whatever comes with it. I want to see this group just get better together. I've talked about it time and time again on this podcast, how I have had a front row seat to watching groups of players where people are like, I don't know about these guys. And then all of a sudden at the end of their first year together, you're like, oh, wow, they might be a little better. And then all of a sudden that group is a fucking core that is playoff contenders, perennial potential playoff contender. And then obviously things get parsed away. But I would love nothing more than to watch the Chicago White Sox, with the acquisition of their newest big bopper, just take off. That would be fucking incredible, man. I would love that. I do think there is something to your point, though, Dallas, that like, I don't even know if it was you or Jayhay, but we can't let this guy beat us. Like, he's the only guy that could have a big swing. Like, there's 2 runners on. It's the 7th inning. It's like, all right, well, just going to load him up. And well, Jared, the whole point is because the numbers that we know and the numbers that we look at, and we're only going to dive deeper into this when it comes to scouting reports, right? Because what does the profile look of this guy? What does the approach of this guy look like when there's guys on base, right? Is he cutting the swing down? I don't think so. Does he have a propensity to be aggressive early in the count? If that's the case, we're talking about a dude who swings and misses a shitload at pitches that are strikes. Why would I throw you a first pitch strike with guys on base that you could just cap and shoot something to left field accidentally and bleed one in and score? Why would I even give you that opportunity? I will be throwing you back foot sliders. I will be throwing you change-ups down and away. Like, you're not going to see shit. You're going to be getting 98 up under the hands, and you're going to have to make the decision. And basically what I'm telling you is the numbers have told me what decision you make. I like my odds of outstuffing you, especially if we're in a point where you feel the pressure to be aggressive because you feel the pressure to be the producer. And I can come right after you because am I afraid of anybody else around you? No, I'm not.
It was shocking to see.
Of course.
2 years and the White Sox. I was like, wait a second.
Hey, shout out to the Pope.
I just got to say too, subjectively, like I know half dozen White Sox fans that I play fantasy baseball with or are just friends of mine, legitimate excitement too. And whatever price you want to put on that, okay, but it's a thing. And it's also a group of people that I've heard no legitimate excitement from for the last half decade. So that there were messages being sent in my fantasy league, Discord and stuff like that. It was like, yeah, like, is that worth 17 million on its own? Of course not, but it's worth something.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm here for the pale hose.
Yeah.
He showed up to his press conference and showed some White Sox today too. So
I did see that.
He's into the brand. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder where he got those, you know?
Yeah. Hey, and the other thing too about your point about like him being the marketable guy, I mean, we've noticed what sort of push the Chicago White Sox put on the minute he signed, right? It was like a post every half hour, a post every hour, just about him signing what he looks like in their pinstripes, our pinstripes. He looks good in our pinstripes. Like, this is their dude. So to your point, Jayhay, about them having somebody who's marketable and can be a gate draw, they have to rally behind that. At least, because that can only help close the gap and make it even sexier in terms of financial recoup.
Yeah, like it certainly does. It certainly does like change the I guess perspective and narrative when it's like, man, you can only get 2 years and it's the White Sox. Eesh, but it's like he's the face of our franchise now. Like there's not many teams that he could have signed with and immediately just been like unequivocally the face of the franchise, and he is the face of the White Sox franchise right now.
Oh yeah,
probably just them and the Marlins, right? Well, Rockies too, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey Jayhay, why don't you talk to us about Harry's, since you're probably going to be breaking out that Harry's razor pretty soon.
It's a good idea. That's a good idea. They've treated me so well. We're talking about going with a Fu Manchu for Just the Nuts. So that's pretty exciting. Oh, you want to hear about the Harry's read? I'll give it to you. That's fine. Yeah, my personal experiences are great. I know there's some mixed feelings among our listeners about what I look like after a clean shave, but the quality of the shave cannot be debated.
Sounds like it's being debated.
Are you ruining my ad read? Mama? She's not here right now, buddy. I can offer you Mickey.
Oh no.
Would someone else like to take this ad read for a second?
Sure.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah.
Tell me about Harry's, Jared.
Yeah, I'd love to. Harry's just launched their brand new razor called Harry's Plus. Harry spent 10 years developing their most advanced razor yet. Yes, an entire decade of R&D for the smoothest possible shave. This is their biggest launch in the history of the company. And if you're looking for an incredibly advanced shave and you still want to pay less than other premium brands, Harry's Plus is for you. And what makes Harry's Plus an upgrade? Well, I'll tell you, their advanced pivoting system. To make reaching all corners of your face even easier, the refined blade technology for an even closer, more comfortable shave. Blade spacing is optimized to glide smoothly and avoid clogging. They've got a weighted metal handle. It's the heaviest handle yet for more control. And with Harry's, you have to get barbershop quality shave with German engineered blades. Each blade is honed at 3 different angles to cut hair cleanly at the root without tugging. Even after all this innovation, Harry's Plus still costs less than the Gillette Fusion razor. A premium shave without the premium markup. If you don't love your shave, Harry's will make it right. No questions asked. Risk-free trial means there's zero downside to giving it a shot. Plus, Harry's isn't just a razor. It's the centerpiece of a full grooming lineup from shave gel to body wash, all designed with the same attention to detail. Everything is delivered straight to your door from Harry's own factory to your bathroom. No middlemen, no markups, just premium gear on your schedule. For a limited time, our listeners can get Harry's Plus trial sent at only $10. Wow. Only $10. Harrys.com/BID. This set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, one refined 5-blade cartridge, a 12-ounce foaming shave gel, and travel cover. To protect your blades on the go, just head on to Harrys.com/BID to claim this offer. And after you purchase, they will ask where you heard about them. Please support Baseball is Dead and tell them that we sent you guys.
Please.
The news moves on. The surprising news moves on. Michael King back to the San Diego Padres on a 3-year deal. I believe includes opt-outs after every year in the deal.
Yeah.
$25 million per. And I was very surprised to see this. So he would have had the pick attached. Yeah. Did he get the QO?
Well,
he did.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he had the QO, pick attached. Maybe when I don't think that having the QO attached would have really hurt Michael King's market. Like, I feel like a lot of teams were interested in signing him. Like, I don't think that there were teams calling up being like, we like you, but not enough to give up a pick. I think ultimately someone would have given up a pick. That's why I was so surprised that he went back to San Diego.
Well, I can tell you that, yes, there was interest. There was interest from multiple places. What I will also say is this. You have to remember that this is a dude that was dealing with 2 separate physical setbacks, and whether or not that has teams shy away on a grander scale than maybe the place that knows him. That is what it is. Front offices have different approaches when it comes to that. We're talking about a knee. He had some shit going on with the shoulder as well, but thank goodness both of those things were cleared up, taken care of. What do you got, Jayhay?
No, keep going. I'm just listening. I was just licking my lips.
Oh, girl. But I think, yeah, look, there's, if you want to be pessimistic about it, I think you can take a look at some of the numbers that, okay, what's the whiff rate look like? Well, was it down? Okay. But like I said, he's battling a couple different injuries that directly impact your ability to perform. Like, whether it's driving off the back leg or having issues with the knee that you're planting on, that's problematic. When you're getting pain or shooting pain or just shooting disruption in your arm because you're dealing with nerve damage, or nerve issues, not damage, nerve issues, that can be problematic. That you're just trying to, at that point, get the ball over the plate, so to speak, right? But this is also a dude who, if you want to talk about the whiff rate declining, I will remind you that he had a 25% plus whiff rate on 4 out of the 5 of his offerings. Yeah. So outside of the sinker, like, this dude is still generating swing and miss, right? And not terribly easy to barrel up per se, as far as contact rate goes, or hard contact rate. But I think this is a guy, when you look at when he's on, and yeah. I mean, talked about it in the Slab Lab with him. Go check that out. Like, I told him, I was like, buddy, the reason that I was on you is you're a fucking wiffle baller out there. Like, you just make this baseball do shit that is very intriguing to me. And it came with a lot of the adjustments that him and I talked about and dove into, the lowering of the arm angle over time and what that has done for the profile. Like, for me, there's a lot to like about him. And when you sit down and listen to him speak, I think the human being is something that you also get excited about. But that's ancillary outside of like why you're making this kind of decision, why you're making this kind of move. But I think about what the Padres are looking to do in this rotation, right? You got Pivetta, who I think he finished top 5 in the Cy Young, or just outside of the top 5 in the Cy Young last year. You've got Musgrove, the bounce back. Now, there's questions with what JP Sears is going to be able to bring to the table. He had a rough landing in San Diego. I think it's fair to say that. But I know what JP Sears is capable of when he's comfortable. It's a guy who can take the ball every 5th day for you and be fairly consistent in doing so. And maybe it's just about getting that rough patch out of the way for him. Then you have Vasquez. But I think all in all, Michael King is a wonderful addition to any rotation. And I think for San Diego, this is a nice move. I'm excited about it.
So I think it is very good for the Padres to have gotten him back because I think most people thought he was going to leave, and B, because they seem to be in something of a transition or a question period as we've outlined before. It is really all about the injuries for me here, both the good and the bad, because his downturn in his 2025 performance is very easily explained away by the injuries that Dallas is talking about. Through his first 10 starts, he had a 2.59 ERA and a 3.26 FIP. That in 55 and 2/3 innings. That's exactly what we were hoping for Michael King. That's the nasty shit that we're talking about, right? And then he got hurt. Came back too soon, got hurt again, all that sort of stuff. Final 5 starts, which was August on, 6.11 ERA and a FIP north of 8 in 17 and 2/3 innings. But that was enough, given the quantity that he pitched before, to basically ruin his season in terms of surface level stats. Now, I'm with you guys that I don't think there was no degradation of his core skill, as you saw through those first 10 starts, and that's why San Diego wants him back. But I'm not quite there. A lot of Padres fans responded to stuff that I sent out and been like, he was hurt, right? He was hurt, right? Even though I said that I know he was hurt. I just don't. You cannot hand wave away the fact that a guy who has been in Major League Baseball 7 seasons and has one completely healthy season, you cannot hand wave away that he finished his platform year hurt again. And like that doesn't take away from how good Michael King is when he's pitching, nor does it take away from the fact that it's a good idea for San Diego to bring him back. But this is a thing that happens with Michael King, right? And so it's something that we need to own. And that takes me to my last point, which is that the details of the contract make this is a risk for San Diego. And the key may be that it's not a risk for current ownership, because they may feel like by the time, if this turns problematic, we're going to have sold the team and it's going to be somebody else's problem. But the way the contract works is if Michael King gets hurt again this year, he's opting into those other 2 deals. Like it's a $29 million, not the other deals, the other years. It's a $29 million average annual value for the final 2 years of the deal. So if he gets hurt and doesn't think he can beat that, which he wouldn't if he got hurt again, that's $60 million that is like, what are we getting out of that? And that's a big deal for this ownership group. So like, yeah, you want him back and it's good they got him back, but it's not a deal that is without concern for me, I think.
And that's totally fair to say. And and you both know where I land on shit like this. A fuck yes. Thank goodness for Michael King, for the same reason that I said that. And I held back and I didn't say anything when we started talking about Shane Bieber and why he would opt in, right? Why he would take that. I didn't say anything. I know what I know and I leave it at that. And then what happens is it comes out, oh, okay, this is a guy who is now week to week based on how he's feeling physically and what he's dealing with. So you have to be able to perform to a certain level where you are being considered as somebody who can not only be impactful, but also being worth that risk. So it's a tip of the cap in my book, from my lens, to Michael King and to Biebs, because you have put the work in. The hay is in the barn. And for Michael King, that day has come. Based on what he was able to do up until this point, battling injuries throughout his career, he has put himself in a position where he nets a $75 million deal and assures himself of that money, whether he's healthy or not, because of what he is capable of doing when he is healthy and because of what he represents should he be productive. Like that's a win-win for the player, and I'm always here for the wins for the player. So I absolutely understand and respect what you're saying, Jay, because it's the truth. If in your platform year you finish up unhealthy or you finish up with some bruises and some bumps, I think it's fair for people to evaluate that and go, this might be a little heavier on the risk side than it is on the reward side. I think we're going to shy away from that. Well, he found the suitor, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. And I think the math works for the Padres too, because I just don't think they could afford any other talent exodus. Like they cannot let talented players walk out the door if they want to maintain a current level of competition. I don't think. And Michael King is their most talented pitcher on a per start, per inning basis.
And if this isn't a Fromber pursuit or a Suarez pursuit, then doesn't that sort of signify like we're not really willing right now or in a position right now to make that big, huge commitment? This is a commitment that we're still comfortable with, that doesn't leave us strapped, right? Doesn't leave us handcuffed, but we still feel like we're competitive.
Can we have a broader conversation about the San Diego Padres? Maybe not necessarily in regards to Michael King, but AJ Preller, we were kind of told that he was looking at, big deals. Like he wants to move these big contracts and what have you, and maybe, attach a Bogarts to a more attractive piece or however he does it. Are you a little bit like confused as to like why, like Mike, like why even make the offer to King at this point? Like if you're in that spot where you're trying to if by the grace of God you were able to move the Bogarts contract, that's not a rebuild. Like they might look at it as like we're in a much better position. But if they're in dire straits financially and they're trying to move off the big contract players, which is most of their most talented players, why be in the market for a Michael King?
Because of the stability he might provide in an area where you're going to need stability moving forward. And as far as cost effectiveness, they might have looked at that where the risk isn't as much as other people might think. And so instead of, like I just said, instead of going out and spending the money on what are considered the top tier free agents on the mound, instead of doing that and making that kind of commitment and just adding a whole nother lumpy contract to your situation, this is one that might feel just that much safer. So instead of having to figure out, all right, we just spent this money on Fromber, we've just spent this money on Suarez, which way do we go now? They don't have to do that. They can maybe still focus on what they're trying to do or the task at hand in terms of moving some of these bigger deals that are probably going to sour for them before they sweeten. I think that has a lot to do with it.
The Tampa Bay Rays made unless you have a comment, Jayhay.
I just think they have so much money committed to the present in terms of veteran players that like a complete punt, we're just going to wash our hands of this. It's not, they don't have a clean enough situation to do that. I think because nobody wants their big contracts. So to me, it does make sense to try to walk this line a little bit with a semi-competitive team that could put fans in the stands as opposed to the other paths that they have available for them. And I just go back to the fact that I think Michael King will end up being a different ownership's problem if it goes badly or he signs with another team because he opts out.
Sure. The Rays made a couple trades since the last time we met. Let's start with you, Dallas. The Pittsburgh Pirates have been super active this offseason, by the way. No shade. The Pittsburgh Pirates are noticeably a better baseball team. They're going to be a better.
Christ.
They are, Jayhay. They are.
No, you guys. We'll let you guys go ahead. I'll clean it up.
They're acquiring talent. The Pittsburgh Pirates get Brandon Lowe from the Tampa Bay Rays.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about it? I mean, this is a 40 home run second baseman.
Feel great about it. I mean, Jayhay, you said it. It was something that I thought immediately is how often does a team go out and acquire their best offensive player, right? And based on what he's capable of doing year in and year out, based on what he did, based on what was happening in this lineup last year and in the recent history, the recent past, this is your best player now. And
I had somebody politely push back on that and say, oh, what about Spencer Horwitz had a slightly better weighted runs created plus? I think you're making the point here, Fal. You said Spencer Horwitz, right?
Yeah.
In 400.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead, Dave. All right.
Yep. Nope. And I'm gonna throw in a guy like Jake Mangum in the conversation, because I think Fangraphs has him slotted like in the starting lineup, right? And I think last time I saw it, it was like him, Lowe, Reynolds, and like I would love for Lowe and Reynolds to become that 1-2 punch that you have at the top of the lineup, and maybe a guy like Mangum who comes with a lot of his faults, is able
friend
to
of the
set the
program.
table.
I understand.
Yeah. Yep. Friend of the program.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Is what would you have them do? Right? No. Do you? Yeah. I don't want them to just stand idly by. Pirates fans are tired of them standing idly by. So I also think it's a matter of trying to make sense of where you're going and feeling like, it's almost like a tease of sorts. Like, we go and get a guy like this, right? What else are we doing? And I'm not telling you that the bullpen help that we've gotten is because you get Mason Montgomery as well. Adding a lefty, like, you have to be happy about it. When you don't have a ton to be excited about, you have to be happy about an acquisition like this, multiple acquisitions like this, because who knows that, Mangum doesn't turn into a wonderful table setter. He's a plus defender. He's got plus speed. Sure. Is there power there? No, I think Jayhay, he probably could have been a comparable opponent to yours in the home run derby, if you will.
He wouldn't have worked. He wouldn't have practiced as hard as I did.
That's for sure. And yeah, sure, he'll go out of the zone and try to hit some shit that he might not be able to get to. But that's all part of growth. I'll say. I'll chalk that up to that. But I think if you're the Pirates, or if you're the Pirates fan base, you have to take what you can get, as terrible as it is to think about it that way. And you have to be willing to accept the fact that you did just go get, I'm not going to call him a marquee player, but you did just go get a guy who makes you better and is instantly one of your best, if not the best producer in your lineup. It's not to say that there's not guys that you feel better about. I mean, how long have we been waiting for the O'Neill Cruz train to leave the station? Fuck, man. I can only wait so long. Pirates fans can only wait. So I fucking love the dude. Love the dude. I mean, you got Mike Cameron talking about how, bro, let me spend some time with this dude and I can turn him in to a Gold Glove caliber defender. I don't know if Kevin Kiermaier's phone has rang or not, but I mean,
I'm sure it has.
What's that?
I said, I'm sure it has. That video went crazy viral.
When you have former big leaguers talking about how they feel like they can make an impact or help a guy, I think that's just one more little carrot that gets dangled in front of you. Like, damn, man, like, could you imagine if this dude takes off? And it's like, well, we are 3 years into this thing. Like, I'd like to see him take off. That'd be great. And he has, you go from shortstop to center field, and whatever impact that might have on you offensively, whatever. But as far as the Lowe acquisition, along with Mangum and Montgomery, you have to be pleased with it. Sure. You have to.
Sure. He makes them better. I'm just glad we found our natural, our buoyancy point. We found where this conversation was always really going to end up, and it wasn't their real bidders for Kyle Schwarber or, that sort of bullshit that we heard about the Pirates at the beginning.
Dick.
They sure did. They were the fifth best offer, right? No,
better
it was
than being the last.
Is it? Is it though, actually? Because that was a lot of paperwork the front office had to file for nothing. I'm sure those people felt that busy work wasn't necessary.
Not just about going through the motions, Jayhay.
Anyway,
right?
No. It's good that we got very honest with ourselves and decided that Brandon Lowe is the type of acquisition that the Pirates were always going to make this offseason, because it was the type of acquisition they were always going to make this offseason. And I agree that he makes them better. He makes them 2 to 3 wins better. That I agree they shouldn't just fucking do nothing. I'm not hating on them for this trade. They gave up, for all intents and purposes, very little. Certainly very little that seems like it'll matter to them next season. And I agree, they had to improve the offense in some way. Where I think this gets additionally interesting is that you brought up O'Neill Cruz. He's been an interesting defensive situation. Brandon Lowe is, as listed on the Fangraphs depth chart right now, at second base. That, to me, makes this trade not good. Because if their real plan is to play Brandon Lowe at second base, I think he's going to end up giving back a lot of the value that his offensive production is supposed to provide the Pirates, because there is no defensive number you can find that says Brandon Lowe wasn't awful at second base last year. Awful. Virtually unplayably bad. Specific numbers: worst second baseman by outs above average, third worst by defensive runs saved, and he's the worst by defensive runs saved if you use only qualified. I had to do it unqualified to find worse people.
Tough ballpark to play in, Jay.
So he is, he needs to play the outfield, and that to me makes it a little bit more of a complicated transaction because I just don't think they can play him at second base with any regularity. So yes, he makes them.
How many big league ball players suck defensively at second base, but are better defensively in the outfield? Like, it takes more of an athlete to be an outfielder.
Well, here's the deal. I don't think they're going to play him at DH. They didn't acquire him to be the DH, right? So I think I'm saying outfield because that's where it's been speculated. I'm not saying that I don't know enough to know whether his particular skill set and the way his body moves is going to take to the outfield. But what I do know is that his skill set and the way that his body moves doesn't take to second base. So I think that's a key component here. I also think, like, yes, Brandon Lowe brings a level of power that the Pirates don't have and desperately, desperately need it. So I'll pause there. That's a good thing. He does come with a lot of swing and miss, and a lot of swing and miss that is usually associated with people who hit for even more power than he does, right? So there is, like, his walk rate dropped. It's basically a little under or a little over half of what it was 2 years ago. There are some, I won't say concerning profile elements here, but there are some things where if Brandon Lowe had already produced his best seasons, I'm not sure that would be terribly surprising either. So yes, they're better. But it's contextual in how they deploy him for me.
I will just end on this. Brandon Lowe is in the upper third of the league when it comes to barrel rate, exit velocity, bat speed, expected slug. So all the things that you get excited about for a guy who can put the bat on the ball, those are things that get you excited. All right. We're not going to talk about his or I should say his propensity to swing and miss outside of the zone.
No.
Talk about his overall whiff rate.
It's 33.4%. It was the fourth highest whiff rate in Major League Baseball last year. It was behind only Ryan McMahon, Aaron Judge, and O'Neal Cruz. So good for the Pirates. They have two of the top four. It's whiff rate.
That's
and it's batters, not pitchers. So lower it.
I like the move, Dallas.
I like the move too.
Yeah.
Jay's a scumbag.
Nah,
he is.
Well, yeah, I am. Yeah. But
he's a bitter man. Yeah.
I don't even want Pirates fans on my side anymore. I hate them.
Wow.
Except for the one guy who reached out and said, I don't know why they're all so mad at you. What you're saying is right. That Pirates fan I like. All the other ones,
you know what?
The ones who always hop in, like Cody Duncan PGH or whatever. These fucking assholes think I'm an Angels fan half the time.
Well, have you considered doing an update to your profile picture now?
No, I like my profile picture, and I like that people get mistaken by the fact that it's sad Mike Trout, and they think I'm an Angels fan.
Okay, so you just want to watch the world burn? Like, you're openly admitting that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I foster the confusion. Yeah. And although when I do the Fu Manchu with the thing, I'll take that. I might take that from the JTN stream and make that my new profile picture.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you've got to just embrace the look that you're about to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that'll coincide with the flip to 2026. Bang. Brand new avatar. We're ready to go. The brand. Yep. Then nobody will be confused and say, "Oh yeah, that nice off season for your Angels, huh?"
Just a harbinger of hate.
The other deal that was made, Shane Baz, he's on the move. He's staying in the American League East. He's being traded to the Baltimore Orioles. And I don't know, man, like, this was a name he was rumored to be involved in the Ketel Marte trade with Tampa in Arizona. And then instead he gets flipped to within their own division. And I remember all the hype around, like, COVID time. Like, Shane Baz's name was coming up, and he was like the next big thing when he first came up in 2021. Very small sample, like a little taste of him in 2021, but the strikeout numbers were elite, and you're like, wow, like, here comes another one. Like, they can trade Chris Archer and still contend. They can trade Tyler Glasnow and still contend. They can trade Blake Snell and still contend. Like, this is just another one of the guys in, like, the Rays pipeline. And missed the entire 2023 season due to injury. And this past season, It took us until 2025 after hearing about him in 2020, having him debut in 2021. It took until 2025 before we could see the first full season of Shane Baz at the big league level, and it stunk. Like, it wasn't good. It wasn't that good. So it's, I guess, Tampa, it's not necessarily that they're giving up on the player, but they're not selling high on him at all.
No. Well, I watched Shane Baz up close and personal. I believe it was his, not career high, well, probably career high, a season high in strikeouts against us. 7 innings.
He's had flashes of dominance, no doubt.
Punched out 11. I'll be honest. When you look at this deal, though, and this is with all due respect to Shane Baz and Brandon Lowe and everybody involved in this mashup of players here, for me, the takeaway is that, as everybody always thinks, if Tampa's giving somebody away and they've pinpointed somebody they like from you, what does that mean? And how about the fucking haul that the Rays got? Like, that's what I think about. Is they got some dudes.
In exchange for a dude with a 5 ERA.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I saw people making fun of Bob Nightingale again because he's botching the guy's name. Slater DeBrun, Bodine, both of those guys are first rounders. Michael Forick, Austin O'Verne. They've got a competitive balance pick that comes like that's all going to Tampa. And that is like, oh, okay. I mean, you're giving them just like multiple potential rough diamonds to chisel away at and polish and hopefully shine for Tampa. But it just feels like giving them that many high-priced, high-level pieces of talent, it feels like inevitably one of them is bound to hit. And if that is the case, feels like this pays off, doesn't it? Feels like that was a move that they're willing to make, and a move that they're going to feel like they're going to be able to walk away from like they're winners.
I think the chances of this hitting for the Rays, like, I think their math is probably very right on this. That to Dallas's point, the potpourri of talent that they were able to acquire for a guy who has demonstrated this lack of availability and lack of consistency is a good deal for Tampa. I also I think this does at least fit with the Orioles' approach to the offseason. So there is like a cognitive consistency here in that they are viewing this window as they need to figure out what's happening here. And this is the window to strike. And they are striking. And that has taken the form of, I think, to the credit of their front office and ownership, that has taken the form of basically every type of talent procurement that you can come across. They've signed a relief pitcher. They have signed arguably the best slugger or the second best slugger or whatever you want to call Pete Alonzo on the market to a massive deal. They swapped out a high risk pitching prospect that they'd have probably a lot of emotional attachment to for a high floor, no star potential outfielder that they needed on their team right now in Taylor Ward. And now they've done this, which is we're going to take 5 things that may turn into something someday, and we're going to get a guy who, for that matter, may turn into something right now for us. And I think the ERA, obviously I 4.87, it was the highest ERA for any qualified AL starting pitcher in the AL last year. But I think the raw materials, even through the injuries, are still here. Stuff Plus, which is a great stat indicator for basically how nasty is your shit. He ranked tied for 11th among qualified starting pitchers last year. The only starting pitchers that ranked ahead of him: Crochet, Skubal, Sanchez, Fried, DeGrom, Severino, Pepio, Alcantara, Valdez, and Dylan Cease. He was tied with Hunter Brown and tied with Paul Skeens. Okay, so this is not a perfect capture because nobody's saying they'd take Shane Baz over Paul Skeens, of course. But if we're just talking about Arsenal and its potential to play, Shane Baz has that in him, and has it in him in a way that really no other Orioles starting pitcher has. I know Trevor Rogers had a great season last year. I think it's unlikely he posts a sub-2 again. And this is the sort of shit that the Orioles need. And maybe he never develops into anything, and the Orioles really rue this trade down the line when the Rays are celebrating and we're all having our fun with the package that they got. Yeah, the light, buddy. But I also think it's a risk worth taking. He had a good April. He had a good September. There's something to build on if you can straighten everything else out. Do I like it most for Tampa? Yes. But after my initial reaction was, Shane Baz, like, are we sure he's good? And I don't know the answer to that yet. But now what I feel confident in is that the materials are still there for him to potentially be good. And that is, I think, worth the risk that Baltimore is taking.
Yes to all of that. But I think we would probably all agree that for what the Orioles paid the price as if Baz had put it all together. Like, he hasn't. Like, they're buying potential, but the price that they paid was completed product, and that's not what he is right now.
Well, they need him. They need, like, yeah, I think it's easily said that out of all of the moves that they have made here, the level of expectation that comes with everybody else not named Shane Baz is understood. You absolutely need Shane Baz to hit. You need this. Yeah. You need him to take a giant leap forward.
It's like they they purchased all the pieces that you need to build a house, and the price included the construction of the house, but it's just, you just have a lot with fucking wood and concrete and windows, and you're like, all right, yeah, like, there's a house here somewhere, but like, I can't move into it right now.
Who's going to put this together?
Good hardwood. Yeah. It's good hardwood. Those are custom cabinets, my friend.
Yes.
Okay. So they might be laying on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But the materials are high quality. I actually really like that analogy.
But do you trust the Orioles to build the house? Like, if you can't trust the Rays to build the house, can you trust the Orioles to build the house?
I think that's a fair question. I also think that the myth of the Rays sometimes can outpace the reality. Like, I remember when Christopher Morel went there. I know he's a hitter, but there is this tendency to be like, oh, this guy with all of these materials is going to the Rays. They're going to be the ones to unlock him. And yes, if I had to bet on who would be more unlikely to unlock someone or Shane Baz, I would take the Rays organization over the Orioles organization. But I don't think it's always like exactly that straightforward. And I think, I just think that if the Orioles are committed to maximizing this window, I think when you looked at the free agency prices that are going on for starting pitchers, and maybe they felt a little bit uncomfortable with the profiles of those pitchers and the fact that, hey, we've got some questions about those guys and we have to pay them $150 or $175 or $200 million. I think Shane Baz is frankly as nasty as any free agent pitcher that they could have possibly gotten their hands on, probably inclusive of Dylan Cease. And yet they decided to pay in prospect costs instead of money. And then obviously they need the development part to it as well. The last thing I'll say on Baz that I think is genuinely meaningful in terms of how he might be different next year than he was last year, his home road splits, which are always a little tricky in single season, I understand. But for the Rays specifically, I think it's meaningful because of the ballpark that we all knew they were playing in last year. He had a 5.9 ERA in 16 starts at home and a 3.86 in 15 starts on the road. So he's not going to be participating or playing baseball in a minor league ballpark for his home games this season. Is Camden Yards a friendly place to pitch? Not necessarily, but I do think that is something worth noting in terms of how he projects moving forward.
Then there's this story, which by the way was deleted by MLB Trade Rumors. I don't know why it got taken down. But
wonder where you're going.
Yeah, it's very, very sussy. I don't know why. It is interesting. Yeah, wow. Okay. So, because I went looking for the tweet's gone, and now when you click on the link to the story, it just redirects you to the story about the Royals just acquiring him. However, I read it when it came out. The Kansas City Royals traded for Matt Strom And there was a story. Matt Strom trade was motivated by clubhouse concerns. Basically, he's an asshole. But like I tried to tell you guys that 3 years ago, and everyone, like, I want to say in my entire career of having beefs with players, none of them have aged well for the player. It almost always was like, well, you know what? That guy kind of is an asshole. You know, I'm not saying I'm not an asshole. Like I am. Like I can be a jerk, but I think that, like, for me it's a bit. And then when the guys that reveal themselves to be assholes, believe them, because that's usually how that goes. Dallas, you're going to defend your guy?
Oh, well, I'm going to start with just asking some simple questions. And
Ask me some simple questions.
Maybe you can provide answers.
Sure.
Based on what you read and based on what I read, because I read the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just, and correct me if I'm wrong here. Maybe I just breezed through it because, truth be told, I read this while getting a pedicure with my wife, my grandmother, my mother-in-law, and my 3 daughters.
Okay.
And I didn't see any comments that alluded to the fact that there was problems with his teammates in the clubhouse. That's something that I didn't see. What I did see was there was some alluding to the fact that some of the questions he may have had in regards to how things were being done might have angered talent evaluators, might have angered staff, might have rubbed front office members the wrong way, which I think for the most part is kind of par for the course when we're talking
also
about
public knowledge.
When we're talking about veteran players at times, right? Like that's and it's because organizations want things done a certain way, do things a certain way, and when veteran players who have experience around the league come in this is I think we played this on the stream. We didn't play this on the podcast, and we didn't talk about it on the podcast because by the time I remembered that I had it, it was weeks later. But the second I saw this, I was like, oh, they hate his ass. And when you say they, Dave
this
Dombrowski. Is the one. Okay, so
the head honcho.
Again, yes, very different. And I know what you're getting ready to play, the Dave Dombrowski referring to what Matt Strom had to say about PFPs, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
But would you acknowledge, Dallas? Would you acknowledge you don't get up to a point of publicly airing out a dude like this unless it's like strike 8, you know, like guys that are good. Like he was still very good for the Phillies. Mm-hmm. But to get to a point where you're like, yeah, asshole. Like, I know you said we don't do PFPs. You didn't do them. We did them. Like, you don't get to a point of that annoyance and airing someone out unless like this is a repetitive act where you're like, all right, dude, fuck you. Or you've already like made up your mind. Like, I'm trading you anyway, so I don't care. Like I'll say what I gotta say. And then Dombrowski spun it to, I think like we're getting 5 years of control for like he was coming up on free agency, so we're getting 5 years of control for a player for 1 year of control for a player. That's how we look at it. But here's Dave Dombrowski talking about Matt Strom after they got eliminated.
Were you troubled by Matt Strom's insinuation or comment that the team didn't do enough PFP during the season?
Well, I think he said the postseason, didn't he? I think I think that's what he said. In the season?
Yeah.
Well, we did plenty, and actually, as it turns out, we did do PFPs in the postseason. He didn't do them. Okay, but we did them.
There's no way that is strike one of annoying Dave Dombrowski. The way that he's just like, he didn't do it. Like he was directly like, fuck him. We did him, but that guy didn't. So yeah, it didn't get to the point of any like airing of public grievances or anything, but talking to like media members in Boston, like he walked around like he was like alpha number one here too. And it's like, dude, you're fucking Matt Strom. Like you're not Like, this is not what you're portraying here.
Well, what would you, I guess, what would you have him portray? Would you have him just sit in the corner?
No, but like he was trying to be like him, and guess who else? The fucking other guy that I had beef with. Those two guys were like, we're the alphas of the bullpen. And it's like, are you though? Like the way they carry themselves was that they were like Mariano Rivera and Trevor Hoffman walking around.
Well, I can't speak to what the bullpen atmosphere is like in either one of those places with those players specifically. I can tell you that there is definitely a hierarchy or a pecking order of sorts when it comes to just overall service time. And then we can talk about roles, right? And then we talk about productivity, and the hierarchy is developed based on a combination of those things. If you want to factor in salary into that, feel free. But at times those can actually be detractors, especially if you're a guy who's making a lot of money and is not productive and is not helping. That guy typically understands, I probably just need to sit in the corner. That guy becomes annoying if that guy can't understand that he should probably just be sitting in the corner. Because if you're making more than everybody else down there and you're not producing and you're making more noise than everybody else down there, that becomes irritating very, very, very quickly, right? Almost like, hey, what are you talking about? I think we just heard somebody say, you're kind of talking a lot for somebody who only plays 30 games a year, whatever it is. Like, you might want to pump the brakes there. And that might mean whatever it is you're talking about specifically, you should probably button it up, because we're not talking about your ability to produce. Because when you're on the field and healthy, we know who you are. But if you're talking about needing to do X and Y and Z to prepare, and you're somebody who's not like on the team page, you're on your own page, you probably should not have anything to say about what we need to do collectively as a group, because you don't do that collectively as a group. You do that by yourself. So until you post the way I do, maybe button it up. That's something that gets spoken about. So from a bullpen perspective, if this is a guy who's brought in to be a weapon, has been a weapon, and was great for them, well, I think you can understand why he might walk around feeling a certain way, right? I mean, this is a dude who posted a 2.5 or just above a 2.5 in his 3 years in Philly coming out of the bullpen. I mean, you punch out more guys than innings pitched. Like, you're, for all intent and purposes, more than serviceable in the role that you're in. From the irritation standpoint, what you're saying about Dave Dombrowski and his reaction to Matt Strom's comments regarding PFPs, is that the first thing that tips the scale? It sounds like it's not, right? And it's probably not. But that was my entire point, was when you bring a veteran player into the mix, and they have been other places, right? Matt Strom, started in Kansas City, then he spends time in San Diego, stops off in Boston for a year. So this is a guy who's been around the American League, he's been around the National League, he's been used in certain ways. Like, he understands or has a pretty good feel for how things should go if you want to be successful, or at least he has an idea. And when you might see some things happening that you don't necessarily agree with, or you think could be done differently, that's where the onus falls on the player. How do we talk about those things? How do we present those ideas? How do we raise concerns? Because there's ways to do it constructively, and there's ways where you end up just kind of sounding like an asshole at times. And I think, unfortunately, in this instance, he ruffled feathers with the front office. He ruffled feathers with, management, however you want to phrase that. If that's his actual field staff and a combination of the front office, or if it's just the front office, whatever. But that's why I always say, all right, pump the brakes. Let's make sure that we're identifying which group he had issues with, because if it's guys in the clubhouse specifically, like the players, well, then let's hear about that. Let's wait. Are players going to come forward and say something about that? I don't think they would. I think that might be something they might reach out and talk about behind closed doors, but I don't know that you're going to get players to come out and be like, hey, yeah, like, honestly, this dude showed up and thought he was God and was an asshole, like came out late, was kind of on his own program, getting his work in, like wasn't, just wasn't the team guy that he's trying to portray himself as. Like until that happens, again, as the player, I always have an understanding, because I told you guys multiple stories about how I was a part of a bullpen that I watched veteran guys get treated a certain way that they probably should not have been treated. And because I was a rookie and I'm a young player, I'm learning how that's going in real time, right? When I have to go up to the clubhouse and go get a veteran and bring him down, and that veteran hasn't watched the first 3 or 4 innings of a baseball game from the dugout or from the bullpen in like the last 7 years, and now all of a sudden he has to, that dude's going to feel a certain way about it. And he's going to come down, and in the dugout right then and there, that's going to be the time where this dude goes, have you taken a look at my wall? You see all the skins on that sumbitch? I'm going to let you know what's going on right here, right now. Inning 4, 1 out in the top of the 4th. You're going to hear about it. There's going to be a time and a place where that happens. And depending on the amount of dirt under your spikes, that impacts the level of comfort you have in exchanging those thoughts. So
I don't know that the report said anything about like clubhouse issues like with players or anything, but if Strom is talking about PFPs after a reliever throws a ball away to end the Phillies season, like if I'm Kirkering, I feel some kind of way about that. If I'm the other relievers, if I'm like any one of the leaders on the team, like I feel some type of way about that. It's like you could talk about PFPs if you're the one that like made that throw. It's like, man, like I wish we did more PFPs because I feel like I would have been in a better, like also like that's still calling out the coaching staff. Like I wouldn't even agree with doing that. So if Strom was the one that threw the ball away, and he says we should have done more PFPs, now it's between him and the coaches.
What if I tell you this? What if I tell you this?
Another reliever throws the ball away, and now you're talking about PFPs. You're calling out the coaches. You're putting your teammate on blast a little bit. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that definitely the players like soured on him or anything, but I don't know that I would have been pumped about it if I was Kirkering.
Now, what if, and I'm not saying that this happened at all. This is a purely hypothetical. But what if Kirkering and maybe some other guys have said to an extent, be like, fuck, man, like, when's the last time we did PFPs? I can't even remember the last time we did them.
They did do them. Strom just didn't do them.
That's according to Dombrowski. And I'm not telling you that Dombrowski doesn't have a feel for what's going on the field. But from a player perspective, what if you're the young guy who sails one, and then you go to the veteran, and the veteran's like, hey, man, it's all good. Like, we haven't done PFPs in 3 fucking months. Like, I get it. I get why you might have been flustered. I understand it. The young guy might not be in a position to say to the coaching staff, yeah, no, look, that was on me. That's my bad. Like, if I'm being honest, I hadn't fielded a ground ball in 3 months. Like, I had practiced that. We hadn't done much. He doesn't want to say that because he doesn't want to look like he's making excuses. And he also doesn't want to rub anybody the wrong way. He doesn't want to look like he's calling somebody out. That's exactly what it would come off as from a young player, right? Who the fuck are you? How long have you been in this league? You think you're somebody to tell us what we need to be doing to prepare? If you didn't think you were getting enough ground balls, can't you take somebody aside and have him hit you ground balls for 10 minutes? Can't you do that? Like, that would be the response to that young player. Well, maybe that young player confides in the veteran, and the veteran says, buddy, I'll say it. I got no problem saying it. I'll defend you. So if it's about us calling somebody else out to take the heat off of you, I'll do it. I'm not saying that happened at all. I'm not giving you like a wink, wink, nod, nod. That's what happened. I'm not doing that. I'm saying that is a way that things can be taken care of, or that is a way that things can be communicated. So there's a possibility for that. If that is what happened, it is. If it's not, it's not. But I always try to take perspective from everywhere, from every angle.
I mean, even without the report that there were clubhouse issues, the second that I saw he got traded, the first thing I thought about was how Dave Dombrowski in season-ending press conference was like, yeah, fuck that dude. Like,
well, because
it was just
Dombrowski,
very clear that the writing was on the wall, and either there was going to be a sit-down conversation in spring training, or that he was going to get dealt. And I wonder if there was some sort of like confrontation that we don't know about, like, maybe Strom took exception to Dombrowski publicly airing him out, and they had a conversation, and Dombrowski was like, yeah, like, we're not going to be able to move past that, so see you later. There's stuff that just never sees the light of day. It's part of the business, but yeah, just doesn't surprise me.
Yep. Hey, the other side is the Royals got themselves a nice reliever though, right?
Yeah, they did.
They got a lefty back. I mean, they got rid of Zerpa, and they get a lefty back, a pretty good one.
I've never said he wasn't good. He just
I know
is like someone that you can just tell certain guys, you have one interaction with them, and it's like, yeah, we would never get along. Like, we wouldn't click. You don't have a sense of humor. Like, you take yourself too seriously.
I think you just felt like he would slap the dog piss out of you, and you didn't.
I'd love to
like
see him
that.
try.
You didn't.
love to see him try.
Okay, this is devolving. We don't need to. You're going to start a fight now. I mean, the Royals needed a left-handed reliever. To the point about the Zerpa trade and the fact that their left-handed relievers were pretty dog shit last year. So, 28th in strikeout rate out of lefty relievers. Bottom 10 in ERA and wins above replacement by lefty relievers. So, for as annoying as Matt Strom seems to be, he does annoy opposing batters as well, right?
Yeah. Good pitcher. Good pitcher.
Look, hey, those are your words, not mine. You're the one who said I would break his jaw like Anthony Joshua did Jake Paul. I didn't say it. You said it. I just wanted to balance it out.
Yeah. Are we done saying that the Jake Paul fights are rigged and all that? Can we finally get over that? Because that's obviously not the case.
Well, I mean, some feel like
he
that
broke his jaw in 2 places.
Some feel like that could have happened a lot earlier in the fight, and it was just about making sure that you hit a certain benchmark in your, like, some people are saying that. I'm not saying that.
Please. Please.
Yeah.
Paul brothers couldn't have moved those goalposts fast enough after the.
What do you mean?
Never mind. I was thinking of the Tate brothers, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were like,
and I don't need to slander the Paul brothers.
If you don't try.
Yeah, I don't mean to slander the Paul brothers by comparing them to the Tate brothers, so I will clean that up right now. But
thank you.
The Tates moved it really fast. They was like, the man in the arena. It's like, all right, get the fuck out of here, loser.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to give any credit to Andrew Tate, Jayhay. 10 years
I'm not going to give 1 second of credit
years.
to Andrew Tate. Yeah, was that unclear? Zero credit. No, man, it's much harder to fight a professional fighter than it is a woman.
Wow.
Yeah. See, I will proclaim my fandom for the Paul brothers, despite they've made some questionable choices in their life, but yeah, Tate's where I draw the line.
yeah.
I'm not
two different sets of brothers, to be clear.
Correct. Yeah. Not a supporter, not a fan. Just want that on the record as well.
Yeah, I confused that issue. That's on me. My bad.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking about all the involved, we got to talk about Hims. Yeah, hair loss isn't just about hair. It's about how you feel when you look in the mirror. Hims helps you take that back, that confidence, with access to simple, personalized care that fits your life. Are you tired of trying to figure out what works for your hair loss? Because through Hims, you can get access to clear solutions, expert guidance, and an online process that takes the confusion out of care. You shouldn't have to rearrange your life to deal with hair loss. Hims makes expert care accessible on your schedule so you can focus on feeling like yourself again. Hims offers convenient access to a range of prescription hair loss treatments with ingredients that work, like choose oral medications, serums, and sprays. Doctor-trusted ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil. Those can stop further hair loss and regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hims brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. No hidden fees, no surprise costs, just real personalized care on your schedule. Think of Hims as your digital front door that gets you back to your old self with simple online 100% access to trusted treatments for real health concerns. all in one place. For simple online access to personalized and affordable care for hair loss, ED, weight loss, and more. Visit hims.com/BID. That's hims.com/BID for your free online visit. hims.com/BID. Anyways, yeah, I just want to make sure we hit on that Strom story. Anything else you guys want to hit on?
No.
Paulie punched myself, reemployed.
He's back, baby.
Yep.
He's back with escalators. It's a $2 million base. Could see up to 2.5 based on innings limits.
That's a good gift for them.
Huge. People are calling it the needle mover of the winter.
Haters.
I saw MLB.com, the ticker go across, and it was Yankees right-handed pitcher punch myself, agree to deal. Yeah, I thought that was interesting that they'd picked up on that, but trendsetters, we've always been known as that. I just want to say, I don't have any other topics that I want to hit on. These sorts of transactions, like this rundown that we did today, is maybe my favorite type of off-season rundown to do, because they're not so big where like all the angles have been covered and it's like, what are you going to say about, Juan Soto to the Mets? He makes them a lot better. You know what I mean? It's like, it's these sorts of like mid-tier deals where it's like, is Shane Baz good or is Shane Baz bad? And it's like, or, Murakami, like, I don't know. I just felt like this was some really fun talking baseball with you fellas.
It's good shit.
Yes.
Just talking ball with the fellas.
That's right.
It's not a matter of if porn's good or if porn's bad. It's a really sticky situation. The ball's on her to do this.
What are you talking about?
He's doing Brian Wilson, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the ball's on her to do this. It's not a matter if porn's bad or porn's good. It's a sticky situation. Dallas, any final thoughts?
No. I said it before we got on air. I pray for your boy. I will be hunkering down, defending my backyard. The atmospheric river is headed our way here in California. 6.4 inches of rain due here in Los Angeles. That is the most rain, the most water this city is due to receive ever in the history of LA Everdom. So hang tough out there. I'll be sliding in a mudslide.
Jayhay?
Just a quick Nug is final thoughts. I pretty much emptied the bag when we were having the conversation on Nugs from these signings, but the one I didn't get to was the Mike Burrows end, the Astros end of the multi-team trade where they got pitching prospect Mike Burrows, I guess from the Pirates indirectly. I looked up change-ups by starting pitchers in 2025 that were thrown at least 300 times with a WOBA allowed of under 200. And a whiff rate of at least 40%. The four pitchers that describes are Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal, Christopher Sanchez, and Mike Burrows. So what you want to do with that, we'll see. I guess it's more of a question of what the Astros do with that. But either way, that is my Nug and final thought for today.
Do we want to go tomorrow? Interview?
I'm hearing rumors of this.
Yeah, we might, to fulfill 2 episodes, we might go again tomorrow. But yeah, TBD, but I would say likely to quite likely. My final thought?
I can see where she's coming from. I just feel like this is falling on deaf ears, in my opinion.
Ryan?
What's the matter, Jared? I love her. I mean, the ball's on her to do this. She's defending the porn community. It's not an argument anyone's going to win whether porn's bad or porn's good. It's a sticky situation, obviously. I think she's a fan of baseball. As I heard her favorite pitch was it the front door heater or the back door
slider?
Yeah,
back door slider.
All right. Back tomorrow.
Wow.